I wasn't obsessed with becoming an Olympic gold medalist. I was obsessed with gymnastics. And that was like the aftermath of it. And I feel like to the competitors out there, if you're more obsessed with the outcome than you are the actual work, it's not going to work, because you're going to get there and you're probably going to get a title and you're going to feel like, is this what I was working for? Whereas if you can't learn to love the work of it, then you're going to be chasing titles your entire life, because you're going to feel like, if only I have the next title, I'm going to feel fulfilled. And it just doesn't work that way. I mean, we all get caught up in it.
Right.
So I think it's like a constant battle every day. The culture and society tells us to strive for success and for titles and for all these things. So every day my husband and I will get caught up in an opportunity that's sent our way. And we're like, oh, that would look really good for like our resume or whatever. But it's having this like reflection on a daily basis of, what do we value? What's important to us? What's going to make us feel more fulfilled? What's going to help our family and our children? And so we choose wrong sometimes, but when we choose right and we do things based off of like what we actually believe in, it just ends up working out better. I think one of my favorite things about the sport is it's so incredibly humbling. You literally fall on your face or like split a beam or fall 12 feet from a bar to your stomach or like whatever, hundreds of times before you ever succeed. And that's literally like the foundation of gymnastics. And I think it's so humbling in the sense of like it encourages failure. And I remember my coach used to celebrate when we would fall and when we would try new things, because it's only if you do that will you ever like learn a new skill. So I thought that was like the most beautiful thing I was ever taught in life is, if you get it on the first try, it was way too easy or too small of a dream for you anyways. So if we were trying new skills in gymnastics, if I tried it and it was easy, my coach would be like, oh, we didn't shoot high enough. Like, we need to try a harder skill. And so it was almost like the more I failed, the more he knew we were going in the right direction.
And it's like, if you didn't not get the gold at Worlds, who knows if you would have gotten a gold at the Olympics.
Absolutely.
Do you think you honestly wouldn't have if that didn't humble you?
I mean, it set me straight. I don't know, but it was a really powerful lesson. It was the first time I ever cried in a competition. I remember my coach, just like the look of, to a certain extent, disappointment of like, I could see your head getting big. I tried to get you back, you know, on the straight line, but you let it get too much. Almost like an I told you so moment. And I think had I not learned that, my competitive career would have looked different. Yeah.
That's such a powerful story. We never know what we're being set up to learn or how it's going to position us for the future. Do you feel like you call on some of those moments in your present day life when something goes wrong and not the way you wanted? A million times a day. I think my husband is probably exhausted by how many like gymnastics life lessons I throw at him on a weekly basis. But I truly believe gymnastics and my coach taught me everything I use in today's life, like everything, how I parent with failure. I was so blessed to have such a phenomenal coach who was so wise. He taught me from day one, it was never about medals. It was never about scores. It's about having fun and trying to like better myself a little bit more each day. He gave me the gift of being a kid and being able to play instead of being, you know, a grown up kid adult that had to work. And yeah, I look back on every lesson I've learned in gymnastics literally every day. I don't know if it came from gymnastics. I don't know if it just came innately or from the beautiful community of like my parents and my coach. But I woke up one day and said, I don't want to feel like this anymore. And so I took it upon myself to fix myself and hired the world's most amazing dietitian and psychiatrist who I worked with for 10 years, who truly healed me. I think I started working with her when I was 18. That was the worst of it, all the way up until I had my first kid. And I remember calling her when I was pregnant, and I hadn't talked to her in a while. It would be like jumping back in. And I said, I don't even know how to explain this, but for the first time in my life, I'm afraid that I'm not eating too much. Whereas my whole life, I was obsessed with eating less. And for the first time when I was pregnant, it was this fear of like, I need to be eating more. I need to make sure that like I'm nourishing my body. And it was like a switch flipped, and it was no longer about me. It was about my baby.
And I just remember my dietitian started crying on the phone. And she's like, if only you could have heard this 10 years ago and you would know that like there was a light at the end of the tunnel. But she saved me.
I've been hearing more and more moms talking about how getting pregnant actually healed their body image issues.
Yes.
I feel like it's more popular to hear the stories of women who are resenting the pregnancy body. But I think it's beautiful to think about how you don't have to think of it as just this image or this ornament or this material thing. It's actually a vessel that's creating life.
Yes. I don't want to put the pressure on like being pregnant and my children to have healed me fully, because I did put in so much work to get there. But there was something about getting pregnant to where it was no longer about me. It was not about how I looked in the mirror. It's not how I felt. It was like, it is now my job to take care of my body in the best way possible because it's taking care of my baby.
So what would your advice be to someone who's feeling lost and like, should I just keep riding the wave or should I buckle down and create my game plan?
I would say hold it loosely. Reflection is always great. But for me, I just kept asking myself, like, I had the choice and I had the option at any given point in time to quit and just go to college. But every time I was faced with that choice, it was kind of like, well, this isn't what I pictured, but I don't hate it. And I am having fun. And this looks wildly different than anything I ever prepared for. But I'm having these once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, and I'm meeting great people, and I'm learning. I still feel like I have an entire business degree without ever going to college because I was negotiating contracts starting from the age of 15. It was just, I think, constantly asking yourself, like, you can redo anything, which my husband and I have done many times. We have literally laid it all out on paper and said, I actually don't like it. I'm not happy. I don't feel fulfilled. I want to wipe it clean and start over. And
can you give an example, like with certain ways your business is growing?
I would say early on in our relationship, Andrew was bouncing around the NFL. I was still dragging out this like post-Olympic career. I had been speaking in colleges and corporations for a very long time, and I was kind of done with that. And when we wrote it all out on paper, it was kind of like, we don't like any of it. It's amazing, great opportunities, but we're done with it. And so we started over. We started YouTube. My husband had this wild idea. It was not my idea. It's my husband's idea. I thought he was certifiably crazy. But we dove into this new world of social media just kind of thinking like, it sounds kind of interesting and fun and we want to learn it. And it kind of took off and we had a blast and we felt like we were learning something new. And I think that's maybe a small one. But for us, we have no problem starting over. Because for us, fulfillment and like joy and happiness in our career is more important than anything. And I feel like if you are absolutely miserable doing what you're doing, you're not doing the right thing. I will say our Sunday night debriefs are really important to us. It's a safe space for us to say, this bothered me this week. I need more time doing this. I'm not feeling love or I'm whatever.
Do you do this with pieces of paper? Is it just a conversation?
Just conversation.
And is it a certain time every Sunday? It's 9 o'clock?
As soon as the kids go down. Yeah.
And do you go to the same spot? We sit on the couch or we go to the dining room table?
Yeah, we call it bev time, which is like grab a glass of water, grab a LaCroix, whatever. We're going to sit down and have a conversation, go over our schedules, go over how the week felt. And we've done it so often that it's routine to us, but it is a let's debrief this week. And we all know that things change, like emotional needs change daily. And a Sunday night can look like for us, I'll say to Andrew, I felt a little lonely this week. I feel like this next week I need to schedule a girls' night or I need a little more time to work out this week. How can you support me in that? Or vice versa. And we will literally lay out the week to like fill each other's cups full of like the time and like the things they need to be the best person. And it works out better.
And it helps eliminate the possibility of just building resentment and unsaid things, right? The whole month you haven't done this. It's like, let's avoid that completely by having a weekly check-in so that the bubble can never get so big it needs to burst.
Truly. And I think both my husband and I have this fear that the bubble will burst. And so we're super proactive about it. We are over communicators. We're over analytical thinkers. My husband has like data points on our marriage. It sounds not romantic, but it's this whole idea of like how can we take our athletic careers and put it into our marriage and optimize our marriage to make sure that we are each other's best friends for life and we don't build resentment and we're constantly like serving each other the best we can.
I love that.